You want success. Then stop waiting for permission. Be hungry. Hungry for the pain. Hungry for the grind. Hungry to prove everyone wrong. Because comfort is the enemy, and hunger is your weapon. You see, the real divide in life, the real split between those who make it and those who don't, isn't based on luck. It isn't talent. And it's definitely not about some magic opportunity. It's hunger. Raw, primal hunger. That need to rise no matter how many times you fall. That refusal to be ordinary. Most people are content to float through life. They set small goals. They work just hard enough not to get fired. They do just enough to get by. And then they wonder when they're stuck, why their life feels like a cage. It's because they're not hungry. They're full. Full of comfort. Full of excuses. Full of lies they tell themselves to justify their lack of action. I've seen it too many times. People who want to be winners, who say they want to be great, but they don't act like it. They say they're willing to grind, but the second it gets hard, they disappear. They vanish when it rains. They vanish when the pressure hits. You want to know the difference between them and me? I never vanished. I never quit. I never allowed myself to believe that. Just enough was enough. Because from the beginning, I was hungry. Hungry to rise. Hungry to prove the world wrong. Hungry to never go back to the life I came from. You think it was easy for me. You think I just woke up one day and had money, respect, a name. No, I came from the dirt. I came from rejection, from poverty, from having nothing and no one. I didn't have a fallback plan. I didn't have anyone cushioning my failure. When I failed, really failed, I remember times I couldn't afford to eat properly. I remember freezing in an apartment with no heating, wearing layers indoors just to stay warm. I didn't sit around crying. I didn't ask the world to feel sorry for me. I got angry. I got focused. I got hungry. I used that pain as fuel and I went to war. When you felt real hunger, you'll never settle again. You'll never be satisfied with being average. And that's what I learned. That hunger, true hunger, kills excuses. It kills laziness. It makes you get up at 5 a.m. when your body wants to sleep. It makes you work when others are playing. It makes you push when your muscles are screaming. When your bank account is empty. When your mind is telling you to quit. That hunger becomes your identity. Most people don't want that kind of pressure. They say they want success. But what they really want is comfort with a little bit of validation. They don't want to earn greatness. They want it handed to them. But that's not how life works. You either take it or you don't get it. Period. I wasn't handed a thing. Everything I have, I took. Every room I walked into, I dominated. Not because I was the smartest or the most talented, but because I was the hungriest. The hungriest man always wins. And let me tell you something else. Hunger makes you dangerous. You start seeing the world differently. You start noticing how lazy everyone is, how weak their standards are, how they lie to themselves just to feel good for another day. When you're hungry, you stop asking for validation. You stop seeking comfort. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You go out and you take it. I remember being laughed at. I remember being underestimated, rejected, disrespected. I'd sit in silence while people mocked me, while they told me I'd never be anything. And every word, every slight, every doubt. It all fed my hunger. I didn't need to clap back. I didn't need to prove myself with words. I let my results speak. I let my lifestyle speak. And now those same people who laughed, they're silent. Because they were never hungry. They were full of ego, full of entitlement, full of comfort. And I was just hungrier. That's the truth no one wants to admit. Talent doesn't mean anything without hunger. Connections, privilege, even intelligence, they crumble without hunger. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you're not hungry enough to squeeze every drop of it out of yourself, it goes to waste. Hunger is the spark that lights the fire. It's the thing that makes you dangerous. That makes you unstoppable. That makes you a force no one can control. So ask yourself right now, how hungry are you? Are you really willing to bleed for what you want? Are you really willing to sacrifice, to isolate yourself if you have to? because that's what it takes. You don't get to be great by accident. You don't get to win just by wishing. You earn it with sweat, with blood, with obsession. You earn it by being hungrier than the man next to you. Every single day. The average man will never understand what I'm saying, but you're not average, are you? Stay hungry. You can't be hungry and comfortable at the same time. That's just the truth. They don't exist in the same space. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It's a silent killer. It lulls you into a false sense of satisfaction, whispers lies in your ear, tells you've done enough, that you deserve a break, that you should slow down. And once you listen, once you believe it, once you let comfort win, your hunger dies. Slowly, quietly. And by the time you realize it, you've already lost your edge. You've already become soft. That's why I don't chase comfort. I've never trusted it. Comfort is where your dreams go to die. I've lived uncomfortable for most of my life. I've felt the cold sting of reality when your bank account says zero and there's no safety net. I've lived the nights where the silence was so loud, it felt like it was screaming at me. Nights where all I had were my thoughts, my ambition, and the sick feeling in my stomach that I hadn't done enough that day to change my life. But that pain, that pressure, that discomfort, that's what shaped me. I didn't get here because I chose the easy road. I chose the hard one. I chose discomfort over sleep. I chose the grind over pleasure. I chose the fight over relaxation. I slept in places that would break most people. I went through days where the only thing I fed was my vision because there was no food on the table. People saw the man I became and assumed it was handed to me. What they didn't see were the years I spent building myself from scratch while everyone else was partying, wasting time, chasing distractions. I didn't have that luxury. I couldn't afford to be comfortable. I chose pain on purpose. You think I liked being broke. You think I enjoyed being ignored, disrespected, talked down to like I was nothing. No, but I loved what it did to me. I loved what it forced me to become. It made me sharp. It made me lethal. Discomfort is the gym for your soul. Every time you put yourself in hard situations, every time you suffer on purpose, whether it's physical pain, financial struggle, mental battles, you're sculpting something unbreakable. The world will tell you to take it easy. Society is obsessed with comfort. Air conditioning, soft couches, cheat days, instant gratification. Everyone's trying to escape pain, numb the grind, avoid the process. And that's why they stay average. Because comfort breeds weakness. It's that simple. The second you start chasing ease, you stop chasing greatness. I've seen it happen too many times. Guys who had fire, real drive, but they got a little money, a little attention, and they relaxed. They started sleeping in. They started skipping steps. They thought they had made it. And before long, they were back to square one, only now with broken pride. That's why I never relax. Even when I win, I stay tense. I stay on edge. I stay uncomfortable because I know the moment I let that comfort sink in, I'm vulnerable. And I've worked too damn hard, bled too many times, suffered too much to ever let it all go to waste. You have to choose discomfort every day. You have to wake up and create struggle for yourself. You've got to do the hard reps when no one's watching. You've got to push harder when it would be easier to quit. You've got to embrace the pain when your body screams to stop. That's where the real growth is. That's where the hunger is born. I trained myself to find comfort in discomfort. That's the secret. I found pride in pushing through the pain. I started to love the grind that others ran from. I turned the suffering into fuel. When you do that, when you flip the script and stop seeing discomfort as punishment and start seeing it as the path, everything changes. You become someone people can't figure out. You become unstoppable because nothing scares you. Nothing breaks you. You're not addicted to comfort like they are. You're addicted to the climb. And don't get it twisted. This mindset isn't a switch you flip once. It's a daily war. Every morning when you wake up, there's a voice that wants to pull you back into comfort. Take it easy today. You've done enough. Just rest. That voice is the enemy. I hear it too. But I shut it down every single day because I remember what it was like to be weak. I remember what it was like to be broke, to be overlooked, to be nothing. And I swore I'd never go back. That memory keeps me cold, keeps me sharp, keeps me willing to suffer again and again if it means I stay hungry. So if you're sitting there, waiting for life to hand you something, if you think comfort is the reward, understand this: you don't deserve comfort until you've earned discomfort. You don't deserve rest until you've earned pain. Every inch of progress you want is on the other side of discomfort. Stop running from it. Start hunting it. Stay hungry. When you're hungry, truly hungry, you become dangerous. Not in some glitchy motivational way, but in a real, physical, unshakable way. Because hunger gives you a level of focus and intensity that the average man can't even comprehend. You become locked in. You see through the nonsense. You're not distracted by pleasure, comfort, or temporary highs. You've got one goal, one obsession, and every cell in your body is committed to making it real. That kind of hunger makes you a weapon. People used to underestimate me all the time. They thought I was just another guy with big talk and small action. But I wasn't talking. I was preparing. I didn't need to explain what I was building because I knew I'd show them when it was finished. I stayed in the shadows. I didn't need applause. I didn't need validation. I needed results. And the only thing that kept me moving when the world ignored me, when the failures stacked up, when the pressure felt suffocating, was hunger. I didn't any handouts. I didn't have some secret mentor who guided me through the hard times. I was alone, was broke. I was lost at times. But I was never done. Because every time life tried to break me, my hunger burned hotter. Every rejection became fuel. Every betrayal became ammunition. That's what makes you dangerous. Not how much you've been through, but how you respond to it. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I evolved. I sharpened my mindset to the point where pain became normal and excuses became disgusting. That's why I say hunger makes you dangerous. Because once you become addicted to rising, once you become obsessed with winning, you stop playing by the same rules. You stop needing breaks. You stop needing people to believe in you. You become your own fuel source. When you're dangerous, it's not because you're violent or loud or aggressive. It's because you can't be stopped. They can throw the worst at you, and you'll eat it and ask for more. They can push you to the edge, and you'll keep walking like the edge is just the beginning. That scares people. They don't understand it, and they won't respect it until they can't ignore it anymore. There was a time when I lost everything. Financially, emotionally, socially. Just crushed. Everyone around me vanished. The phones stopped ringing. The support disappeared. It was dark. But I didn't break. I didn't start asking why. I just got hungrier. I told myself, this will not be the end of my story. I will become so undeniable that they'll have no choice but to see me. I started stacking every hour, every day, every week. No breaks. No shortcuts. Just relentless forward motion. I made myself so focused, so disciplined that my losses became weapons. My mistakes became power. You have to get to a place where you look in the mirror and say, I'm not like the rest of them. Not out of arrogance, but out of truth. The average man folds under pressure. He doubts himself. He waits for permission. But a dangerous man, he creates pressure. He thrives in doubt. He doesn't wait. He acts. Hunger gave me that edge, and it wasn't temporary. It wasn't hype. It was built in the quiet moments. Pre-order at liquor stores. In the painful nights and the years nobody clapped for me. The problem with most people is they want to be dangerous without paying the price. They want the title without the war. But you can't fake hunger. It shows. It shows in how you walk, how you speak, how you attack the day. I trained like a man possessed. I worked when I was sick. I stayed locked in when my world was falling apart. And every time I could have quit, I told myself, if you stop now, they win. If you stop now, you stay invisible. That was enough. That was all I needed to keep going. You know what's even more dangerous than a man who's already made it? A man who's still climbing. A man who hasn't peaked yet. A man who's tasted blood, but still wants more I became. That's what I still am. I've won battles, yes, but I'm not done. I'm never done. Because the hunger hasn't left. It's evolved, it's matured, and it's still burning. That's what makes me dangerous. I'm not fueled by comfort or applause. I'm fueled by the mission, the standard, the promise I made to myself that I will not die average. So if you want to be dangerous, don't focus on looking the part. Don't chase the image. Chase the edge. Get hungrier. Push yourself when no one's watching. Choose pain over pleasure. And never stop until you become so locked in, so focused, that nothing can distract you. Not failure, not hate, not even success. Stay hungry. Pain is a part of the process. You can't run from it. You can't avoid it. And you damn sure can't cheat it. You either take it and transform it, or it breaks you. And the ones who rise, the ones who truly win, are the ones who understand that pain isn't the enemy. Pain is the e-path. Every moment of suffering, every heartbreak, every loss, it's either going to fuel you or destroy you. And I made a decision early on. I'm going to use every ounce of pain life throws at me, and I'm going to turn it into e-power. I've been through things most people wouldn't survive. Order liquor stars. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because the pain shaped me. I've been broke beyond broke. I've been betrayed by people I trusted with my life. I've been lied about, attacked, dragged through the mud. I've had days where I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. Days where everything inside me wanted to break. But I didn't break. I didn't bend. I didn't fold. I didn't colder. I got sharper. I got better. Because I took that pain and used it as fuel. I didn't numb it. I didn't drum it. I embraced it. I stared it in the face and said, "Thank you. Now watch what I do with this." Most people avoid pain like it's a disease. They spend their whole lives trying to feel good, trying to stay safe, trying to stay comfortable, trying to stay numb. But that safety net they cling to, that's the thing holding them back. You can't grow in comfort. You grow when it hurts. You grow when you're broken and tired and angry, but you still show up. You grow when your heart's been ripped out, when you've been laughed at, when everything you thought you built comes crashing down, and you keep going anyway. That's what pain does. It forgets you. It teaches you lessons that winning never will. I've learned more from my darkest moments than I ever did from my victories. Because pain strips you down. It shows you who you really are. When there's no one clapping, no one watching, no one offering a hand, you find out if you've got real strength or just a mask. And I found out I was built for this. Not because I wanted the pain, but because I refused to waste it. There was a time I lost everything I had worked for. My reputation, my money, my peace, all gone. I sat in silence. Not because I was defeated, but because I was calculating. I was listening to the voice that pain always brings. The one that says, "This will destroy you." And I answered back, "No, this will evolve me." I didn't need sympathy. I needed the fire. And when it came, I used it. Every insult fueled another rep. Every sleepless night made me hungrier. Every stab in the back made my skin thicker and my mind sharper. I became unshakable, not by avoiding pain, but by becoming one with it. You've got to stop seeing pain as a punishment. It's a teacher. It's the reason I can stand here today with scars and confidence, because I earned this mindset through struggle, through chaos, through pain that would have broken the old version of me. I buried that weak version of myself a long time ago. Pain killed him. And I'm grateful because the man I became is dangerous, focused, and untouchable. Pain built him. Too many people waste their pain. They let it make them bitter. They sit in it. They dwell. They complain. They want the world to feel sorry for them. But let me tell you something, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody cares how bad it hurt. Nobody's handing out trophies for your tears. You either get stronger or you stay a victim. I chose strength. I chose evolution. I chose to let every ounce of pain carve me into a version of myself that can't be broken again. And Once you learn how to use pain like that, it becomes your greatest advantage. Because while everyone else is running from it, you're hunting it. You're chasing discomfort. You're putting yourself in hard situations on purpose because you know that's where the power is. You become addicted to the transformation that pain brings. That's when you become unstoppable. Not because you're lucky or special, but because you're willing to walk through hell without blinking. Knowing you're coming out stronger on the other side. I didn't just survive pain. I mastered it. I made it my ally. And I'll keep doing it again and again because life doesn't get easier. The weight just gets heavier. But when you build yourself through pain, when you turn it into power, the weight no longer scares you. You lift it. You carry it. You own it. Stay hungry. Hunger isn't some temporary emotion you feel when you're broke or at rock bottom. That's not real hunger. That's desperation. Real hunger doesn't fade when the money comes. It doesn't disappear when people start clapping. Real hunger evolves. It grows stronger the more you feed it. That's what separates the great from the forgotten. Most people only fight when they're losing. They grind because they have to, not because they want to. But the moment life gives them a taste of success, they soften up. They lose the fire. They forget what it took to even get that first win. I've seen it over and over again. Guys who used to be savages. They were locked in when they had nothing. Hungry, focused, relentless. But then the car comes. The house. The applause. They think they made it. And you can see it. They start to relax. Their standards drop. They stop waking up early. They lose that edge that once made them dangerous. And then they wonder why life hits them like a train again, and they can't take it. It's because they let the hunger fade. They got satisfied. They thought the war was over, but it never is. When I made my first real money, I'll admit it, I felt it too. That temptation to slow down, to breathe, to reward myself. For a second, I thought maybe I could afford to relax. Maybe I had earned some peace. But that voice inside me, the one that got me through all the struggle, it screamed louder than ever. It said, "You didn't come this far to just be comfortable. You didn't suffer for years just to become soft now." And that's when I realized something vital. Hunger has to evolve. It can't stay the same. The old version of hunger, the kind that's driven by fear or lack, that won't carry you once you start winning. You need a new kind, a higher version, one that's not about survival anymore, but about domination. I shifted my mindset. I stopped seeing hunger as something connected to pain and started connecting it to purpose. I stopped chasing just success and started chasing greatness. That's when I got dangerous again. That's when I leveled up. I became obsessed not with proving people wrong anymore, but with proving myself right. That's the shift. That's the evolution. Because the external reasons, revenge, validation, applause, those are fuel for the early version of you. But the next version, he feeds on something deeper, something personal, something no one else even needs to understand. I still wake up every day with something to prove, not to the world, to me. I know what I'm capable of. I've seen glimpses of the highest level I can reach, and I'm not there yet. And that gap, that difference between where I am and where I could be, that's where the new hunger lives. That's the space where champions are forged. Most people don't want to live there. It's uncomfortable. It requires honesty. You have to admit that even when you're winning, you're not done. Even when you're ahead, you're still behind where you should be. That level of accountability is rare. But that's what keeps the hunger alive. You can't lie to yourself. You can't let success blind you. I've had moments where everything looked perfect from the outside. But inside, I knew I wasn't pushing hard enough. I knew I was capable of more. And it made me sick. So I burned it all down and rebuilt with higher standards. I fired people. I cut ties. I reset the whole foundation because I refused to be remembered as someone who peaked early and coasted on old victories. You want to stay hungry. Then you have to raise your standards every time you rise. You have to outgrow your old goals. You have to look back at what once scared you and laugh, because you've already destroyed that version of yourself. You have to be constantly reinventing, constantly seeking the next mountain to climb. Otherwise you rot, you become stale. You become the man who used to be dangerous. When I say hunger evolves, I mean it becomes more strategic, more precise. In the beginning, it's emotional. It's pure rage, desperation, survival instinct. But eventually, it becomes cold, calculated, ruthless, not loud, but lethal. You don't have to prove anything with words anymore. You walk into a room and people feel it. That presence, that energy, that comes from sustained hunger, not a phase, not a temporary fire, but a lifelong obsession. That's what I live with now. I don't chase feelings anymore. I chase impact. Legacy, I want to die with nothing left in the tank. No potential unused. No talent wasted. That's the real goal. Not just to win, but to keep winning. And then win again and again. Until there's no debate left. Stay hungry. If you're not hungry, you're already dead. That's the truth no one wants to hear. I don't care if you're rich, poor, young, old. If you've lost that fire, that obsession to keep pushing forward, you've already buried yourself. You might still be breathing, but you're not living. You're coasting. You're drifting. You're existing in a space where nothing grows, nothing sharpens, nothing elevates. That's the kind of quiet death that destroys more men than failure ever will. I've seen it. I've lived it. I've watched people who had all the talent in the world let it rot inside them. They had dreams. They had energy. But they lost their hunger. Maybe life got too hard. Maybe things got too easy. But somewhere along the line, they gave up that inner drive that once made them dangerous. And once that hunger dies, so does the mission. The body keeps going through the motions, but the spirit is gone. I've had moments where I felt that creeping death. Not the physical kind, the mental one. The kind where everything slows down, your goals seem distant, and you start asking yourself, what's the point? I've sat in dark rooms with no money, no support, no direction, thinking maybe it'd be easier to stop. Maybe it'd be smarter to walk away. But then I'd remember where I came from. I'd remember the pain, the rejection, the cold nights, the years of being ignored, underestimated, laughed at, and something would snap inside me. A voice would rise, violent and angry, screaming, "No, you're not finished. You're not done. You don't quit." You see, it's not about motivation. That stuff fades. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. Hunger is different. Hunger lives deep inside you. Hunger survives without applause. Hunger doesn't need a reason. It is the reason. That's why I'm still here. That's why I keep going. I've been knocked down more times than I can count. I've had my name dragged through the dirt. I've been betrayed by people I fed, defended people who later turned their backs, and stood alone when I should have had an army. But even in those moments, I never lost my hunger. Because hunger is what makes you move when the lights are off. Hunger is what keeps you grinding when nobody's watching. Hunger is what pulls you out of bed at 5 a.m. when your body says no. It's what makes you train when you're sore, work when you're tired, and stay focused when the world's trying to distract you. And the second you let that hunger fade, even just a little, you start dying. Slowly. Silently. I've been around successful men. Real killers. And the one thing they all have in common, they never stop chasing. They could have everything. Money, power, respect. But they still want more. Not out of greed, but out of discipline. Out of principle. Because they know the second they lose that edge, the second they start feeling like they've made it, they become a target. The world doesn't care about your past victories. The world only respects what you do next. That's why I never let myself get comfortable. I don't care how much I've accomplished. I don't care how many people know my name. I still move like I'm being hunted. I still train like I'm broke. I still study, learn, adapt, because I know there's always another level, always a bigger war, always another version of me that's waiting to be unleashed. But I'll never meet that version if I start letting comfort in. if I start lying to myself, if I start thinking I've arrived. And I'll be real with you. I've had to kill versions of myself just to keep evolving. The version of me who wanted to be liked, dead. The version of me who needed validation, gone. Even the version of me who once thought pain was a curse, I had to bury him too. Because pain is a gift. Hunger is a gift. The struggle is a gift. Without those things, I would have stayed average. I would have stayed soft. I would have been just another man with excuses and wasted potential. So, let me ask you, are you hungry not just when it's easy, not just when things are going your way? Are you hungry when it hurts? Are you hungry when the people you trusted betray you? Are you hungry when it feels like everything you built is crumbling? Because that's when it counts. That's when you find out who you really are. You don't learn anything when it's easy. You learn when your back's against the wall and you still swing. You still fight. You still want more. Don't let that hunger die. Don't let comfort seduce you. Don't let the noise distract you. You've got more in you, more strength, more fight, more purpose. But you'll never find it if you let yourself become full. Stay empty. Stay driven. Stay obsessed. Stay hungry. Stay hungry. Because the moment you lose that hunger, you lose everything.